We are live. I can see us. I can see Aria, Maria, and I can see myself. So welcome everyone who are watching this live show, the Thought Leadership live show. I'm really excited to be here today with Aria, and you might think Aria or Maria. So she goes under two names, but that's all good. So what would you love us to call you today, Aria or Maria?
Aria would be great. So my legal name is Maria, and then as I was on my journey, Maria didn't really fit anymore. It's kind of a tradition in my family to just be called Maria from generation to generation. It's like, no, I'm not just going to be a tradition. I'm going to be my own.
Yes, I
love it. And I decided to rename myself, but that was after I created my business, and I decided actually I want the name of my business to still represent the person I was when I created it. So I kept the name.
Amazing. Beautiful. So I'm so excited to be here with you. We had a bit of a late run, but we are going to run for 30 minutes and we will deep dive into your world. So first of all, I will not speak so much about myself. I want to really focus on you today. And what I would love to know is, who are you? For people who don't know who you are, who are just discovering Aria, who is Aria and what is your mission? What do you really love creating this world?
Awesome. So I'm a divine healer, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I'm an intuitive coach. And I combine those three techniques with working with my clients. So I've got a psychology background, and I originally kind of started just with the hypnotherapy side. And then I realized there's so much more than just working on the conscious mind and unconscious mind and kind of spanning into that energetic field of taking control over life in a whole different way. So I started incorporating all three techniques and stopped treating them as separate things. And I love empowering my clients to take charge in their life. So I mainly work with people who are passionate about making a difference in their life, who want to make a change, they want to grow. And I take them on board and I really work with their wounds, anything that might be holding them back, but really coaching them on any tools that they can use along the way and teaching them how they can process the environment around them as a teaching tool, as a communication mechanism, as everything that happens, it's constantly communicating to us, and how to use that to understand what's happening in my life, what's going well, what's going not so well, and how can I heal it, and teaching them those techniques so that when they're done with me, they don't really need to come back because they've got those techniques to continue and they've got those techniques to be able to live a happy and fulfilling life without necessarily burning themselves out and having that awareness.
Amazing.
So I really look kind of at the holistic approach rather than just fixing one thing and leaving it at that. So I work with my clients over a longer period of time rather than just like short bursts of fixing one thing.
Amazing. And how long have you been focusing on these processes, on this type of methodology? How long have you been in coaching business?
So the coaching is kind of, it just came out. I see myself more as a therapist in a way because most of the work that I do is kind of that healing. But I did through that journey discover that actually that education part, that coaching part of it, of teaching my clients techniques so that they can do it themselves, is so crucial. And I discovered that quite early on. So I've been a therapist for probably 3 or 4 years now. And then I kind of started shifting things around a lot in the past year in terms of how I work with my clients, and mainly working with the energy side rather than treating it as you can choose Reiki or you can choose hypnotherapy or you can choose this. And just having it all in one and not having separate prices. This is what you get. Let's go on a journey together. You can choose how you want to work because there's so many different techniques in the bucket. And it's really beautiful because everybody works in different ways. Everybody's ticks slightly differently. So it's amazing having those different techniques to be able to teach people and to be able to work with as well.
Amazing. And because you came to us about 2 months ago, so we have 3-stage programs. So for the ones listening and watching this, we have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and you came in with a stage 1, kind of, wanting to take your business to another level. So why now? What happened in your life or in your insights? Or was there some meeting? Was there something that made you say, okay, now it's the moment to get help, or now is something I really want to work on?
There was a couple of things. One was COVID and realizing, crap, I am not making any money in my business. I decided to become a nomad last March. which is when I turned it online without any foreplanning. I just decided I'm going to do this. This is what I want. I'm going to jump into deep end. I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's figure it out. And it's been amazing. Like, it's been a roller coaster of up and downs and having to work with other people to get through it. But I'm loving every second of it. So COVID was one of them, because I realized I'm not making any money. There's no other way I can make money right now. And I've got to do something about it. And I can't get government support, because I can't prove that I've not been making any money, because I haven't been making any money. Or not any, but a small amount. The other thing that happened is I had a major life diagnosis a few months ago, about 3 months ago. And it basically means being on medication for the rest of my life to stay healthy. And I was not thrilled about that, I have to admit. It was in the mid of COVID. It was during a time where I couldn't get access to the medication because it was mid-COVID. And it was really scary. I was kind of at a decision of, do I stay here in a third world country in Bali where the healthcare system isn't that great, or do I go back to England where I have no base, I have nowhere to stay, I still have no job, it's so much more expensive, and Corona was so much worse. And those two things together really fired me up so much, because I was like, I need to do something. Like, I'm not going to be the victim. I have no idea how to do this. And eventually I accepted the advice that everybody's been giving me of get a freaking business coach. So it kind of funnily happened that when I was in Copenhagen, I met you and I met my business coach at the same time. And I decided, okay, so let's reach out to this person. Let's see if she's available and she'd be up for a skill swap. I didn't even know what it was then. I was just like, can I offer you something so that you can work with me for free? Because I can't afford you, help me. And then you reached out to me as well and told me about this. So I kind of started those two things at once. And that was a massive, massive shift. And that's kind of what inspired me to go into it. And then those things made the big changes in my business.
So were you scared to commit, or were you already like, because you mentioned that you were in Bali and you had this diagnosis and you're like, I need to find a way to be online. Did you felt like, okay, I'm just have to go, you already committed, or were you a bit scared to kind of commit to joining our program and being supported by us? And or how did you kind of say, okay, I'm doing it? Because there's one thing of saying that I want to be coached and I want to be supported, but actually making the leap and jumping, what was that helped you to say, okay, I'm gonna do it right now?
My excuse has always been money. Whenever somebody said get a coach, it's worth it, you're gonna make the money back, even if you don't have it, my excuse has always been I don't have the money. For the past 3 years I've been hearing that lesson, and it's the number one lesson I give people now, which is really funny as well. And for me, the big shift was, for one, because I was able to do the skill swap. I was able to find somebody somehow, I managed to manifest it, that was willing to do it as an energy exchange rather than a financial exchange. And then with yours, that was within my budget. It wasn't like crazy thousands of dollars a month. I was able to afford it. But it was also the fact that I was going through so much, and there was so much, like, if I didn't do something, there were so many costs going into my health. I've been spending thousands of pounds every single month on my health in the past 3 months, because I decided I'm going to heal this in an alternative method. There's no medication available. I don't want to go back to the UK. So I need to figure out something. So I started doing all these alternative methods and healing that way, and working on myself on the inside, and healing on an energetic level, and healing all the trauma that brought that into my life. And working on it that way. And I'm doing really well now without any medication, which I'm not supposed to be saying.
Amazing. So there was already like, there is a moment of like, you have to lean into that, because there was something in the shift. You were mentioning that you were not investing in coaching for the last 3 years, and that people were telling you like it's a good thing to have a business coach, or actually invest in your training. What was keeping you away from investing? Why were you afraid to invest the last 3 years?
I don't think I believed that I would get the financial results back within that month. So I think I was just so terrified that if I invest however much into a business coach in a month, then I will just end up in debt And my brain was saying, but you're not making enough money right now as it is. So what are you doing? Spending it on somebody to help you. You need to figure this out yourself. And then eventually I just got to a point, I can't do this on my own. I need help, and it's okay. And it's funny because when it comes to my well-being as a therapist, I know I need therapists. I know I need healers because it's just how it works. We can't fix everything ourselves, and I need to take care of myself. And I've always been okay with that, of reaching out to somebody when I've really been down in the dumps and got stuck, of reaching out to my Reiki master or to my supervisor and working with them. But for some reason, when it came to my business, I had this thing in my head saying, I have to do this on my own. This is all on my shoulders. It's my business. I have to figure out everything. I have to figure out the marketing strategy and the social media and the admin stuff and how the hell to do all this accounting. And it was just so much on my shoulders. And I had no idea how to do any of it. And for some reason, I was so stubborn to refuse to work with somebody else and to accept the fact that actually there are cheap options, and there are. I just didn't explore them for some reason. I didn't believe that they would be there. I just had it in my head that I would have to spend thousands of dollars every single month, or pounds, to be able to get that help. And I just managed to somehow break that mentality down.
Amazing.
All of that was going on in my life.
So understanding that at every level, according to, and that's how we go with our academies, that we have 3 stages. And if you are at a certain stage in your business, then of course you cannot invest in our like 10K VIP coaching, because that's something that you're not ready for. But starting where you are and kind of getting the first momentum in your business, getting your first wins, and then you can, invest. And then I think that's something that I also could really advise anyone listening or watching, is it made a shift in our business, just starting to like, what can I invest in? It can be a book, it can be a course, it can be a group coaching, it can be something, but just getting advice from someone who actually done it and not trying to figure out all this by yourself. It's just going so much faster. All right, so let's go right into what really happened, because that's so exciting. So in the last 2 months, you basically increased since you started with us, in 2 months, you increased your revenue by 400%. You're one of our star students. You're basically like really smashing it. And I think it's mostly about your mindset, because like you were saying, like you at some point when you have no other way out, you just, your mind just like shifts and say, okay, let's do this. Let's think differently, because I need to find a solution. I need to find a way out. And you did that. And you did really open up your curiosity and openness of like being coachable, which is very important if you want to, get this success. What happened? What did you do? If you can like break down for the ones listening and watching, what did you really do in the last 2 months that you learned with us? And what was the mind shift that allowed you to say, okay, this is what I need to get to the next level? Because you did it, and you have done it very, very quickly.
Yeah. So my key one was probably your group dynamics session that we did. I think that was like the second one that I did since I came on. And that one made me realize do you want to explain what group dynamics
Absolutely.
is?
If you can
explain it so people know.
If you want to explain it from what you learned, if you can just like kind of summarize what we went through that model. Yeah.
So in that model, what you helped me realize is the group dynamics of not doing everything on your own, having accountability partners, doing skill swaps. So you offering whatever you have to offer, and then that person offering whatever they have to offer. And doing that kind of stuff, and just working with people and having at least 3 to 5 skill swaps, and having at least one accountability group once a month, having those coffees with people to just talk about business. That was huge, because it made me realize I already had my business coach. At that point, I was doing a skill swap with her, but I didn't realize that's what I was doing consciously. Like, I didn't realize how valuable it was. I was like, I'm just getting help, no idea what I'm doing, but this person is going to tell me what to do. And that's all I wanted at the moment. And then when you told me about the skill swap in that group dynamics class, and then you guys also talked about the goals and what is your number one goal? What do you want to achieve in the next 6 months? And just focusing on that one goal and then doubling it. So like I was saying on there, my goal was just make 1,000 pounds in a month. That's my bare minimum. I can live off that. I just want to make 1,000 pounds a month. And then my ideal was going to be 3,000 pounds. Like, I could live very comfortably off this. And that was already really scary. And then you were like, okay, double it. It's like, oh, 6,000 pounds. I can never make 6,000 pounds. alone in the next 6 months. But I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So that was huge because I realized, okay, I've already got a business coach that can tell me what I need to do and how to get there. And you're kind of saying with your skill swaps, find skill swaps that will help you directly achieve that goal. So I was thinking, what is it that I need within my skill swap that will help me achieve $6,000 a month? And I was like, okay, business coach is one, because I have no idea what the hell I'm actually doing when it comes to creating the business plan and all the backwards. I know how to be a great therapist, but that doesn't mean you're going to be successful in the business. It's so much more these days than just a skill. You've got to be able to sell yourself and market yourself and be able to do social media and accounting. And it's just ridiculous. And it sucks that there's so many talented people out there that have so much to offer, but because they don't have all those other skills, they're not able to offer it. So that was really invaluable because that's a free way of being able to do it. Just find people who are willing to swap around and open up that energy exchange. So that was huge. And then finding those skill swaps. So my other one was a financial advisor. So I was thinking, okay, I've got to find a finance coach. I've got to find somebody to help me figure out what I'm actually doing with my money, how I'm spending it, and the mindset around it. And literally the next day, I go to this girl who helped me become a nomad that I've never met. I discovered she's in Bali. I go meet her, her amazing roommates who are all like social media whizzes, and they're all nomads. And then somehow at the end of the day, just before I leave, this girl tells me, oh yeah, this is my business. I'm helping women, coach them in their finances. I'm an accountant and I'm working on mindset as well and helping them kind of achieve them. She was like, this is perfect. And she wanted me to be her therapist. It was like, let's just do a school swap. Let's do this. Exciting.
Yeah.
And that has been huge. I have to admit, I didn't get to the 5, but I was trusting my limits of these are the only 2 I can handle right now time-wise. I was doing the health stuff part-time, so I was only able to work like 15 hours a week. But it has made such a huge difference working with those girls and just putting the energy out there of this is what I want, and I need to attract people that will help me with that, and just opening up that energy exchange rather than trying to force it and trying to force where they're going to come from and actively, like, obviously sometimes you do have to actively find them, but I kind of did it more on an energy level. This is what I want help with. This is the kind of person I want. I'm just going to trust they're going to come to me and I'm going to find them. And somehow I did the next day. It was crazy.
Yes. And it's really about when we were speaking about this. So for me, group dynamics is a really big question when we talk a lot about in our programs. And it has to do with when we were in Australia 4 years ago, and I did my TEDx about it as well. There's a whole, section about, for me, group dynamics shifts everything, because every entrepreneur who is successful is part of masterminds. They have mentors, they have advisors, they have accountability partners, they have a really strong network. Like if you look at any successful, hyper successful entrepreneur, they have that. But 90% of entrepreneurs, if I ask them, who is in your top 5 people, who is in your top, network, they don't know what to answer. And that surrounding that environment, which is not the highest level of excellence, if it's not around you, you cannot grow, because you can wake up in the morning and be like, I want to do this, but if your surrounding is taking you down, you will never really have the energy to get up again. You will only work on getting back the energy to kind of believe in yourself, but in the kind of warrior way, which is not the way you want to do it. But if you co-elevate, if you work together and you support each other, that's one thing. What I would like to mention here is that, as I mentioned as well in the model, is that when you do those skill swaps, what's important to understand is that you're not going to pick someone's brain. So it's not about, like, the difference between paying someone for a coaching and doing a skill swap is it has to do an equal level of experience, or a feeling that it's really equal. Did you see that when you were doing that you were looking for people who are kind of the same, like, development in their business, and that you can really exchange? How did you make sure that it was equal exchange?
So for me, we are in completely different fields. We have very different levels of experience, but we are quite high in our own field. So, like, I've been a therapist for over 3 years, been working with clients. I've been working with them in person back in London, and I was doing really well there. I've got a psychology degree. Like, I've been in the psychology field since I was 18 and working in it. I don't need to get into that. But they also had a lot of experience in their own fields, and they were actively looking to work with me as well.
Yeah.
So like a business coach, she was actually my client originally. Then I remembered, hang on, she's a business coach. She loved me as a therapist. Why don't we do the swap?
Yeah.
And then this finance girl was actively looking to work with me as well. And she was asking me about it. And then I found out what she did. And it just ended up being a really good fit. And it just ended up that we were able to agree that it's a good exchange of time where we value each other in a similar way. And we're just going to exchange our time. And I think if we valued each other in different ways, then we would give each other different amounts of time. So for example, I could give them more than they give me, or the other way around. But you just find a workaround. But it's worked really, really well for us so far.
Amazing. And if someone is wanting to start this and they don't know where to start, they have like kind of an idea, like I know I need help with finance, I need help with mindset, I need help with, I don't know, voice training, whatever that is. What would you say that where should they start?
Opening up the energy to that. I think that's so important, of just acknowledging that that's something you want. Almost like the way I like to explain it to my clients is, like, for example, when people in religion, they pray to somebody in specific and they say exactly what they want. So when you're working with energy, it's the same idea of who do you believe in, what do you believe in, whatever that may be. If that's just universe, or if that's some kind of a God, whatever it is that you believe in, just ask, help me find this. This is what I want. This is what I want to bring into my life. For this reason, this is how it's going to help. And kind of open it up in that way, almost like you're actively asking for something. It's very much kind of like the law of attraction, like they talk about. Have that mentality, believe that it's there, accept it. But what I like to do is actively ask somebody, whoever it is that you believe in, or whatever it is that you believe in, because it's so much powerful when you direct that message to a specific place, whether that's a God, angels, whatever that may be. That person or entity can then respond to that. And that can be really powerful. And then once you've done that, then you've obviously got to, like we were doing in the group coaching, you've got to be clear on what you actually want. So like we already did that. Okay, this is my goal. This is what I need to achieve that goal. I've got to find these people. So I was already clear on it. So I was then able to ask what I'm clear on and what I want and why. And then just keeping a lookout and just being conscious, not letting it drift off. And okay, I've asked, that's my job done. But kind of keeping that eye open. I was like, okay, I'm looking for this. Who can be a good fit for this? Because if I wasn't keeping that eye open with my financial coach, I wouldn't have actually asked her, because it just barely flagged in my brain, hang on, no, she's not going to be a paying client. She's perfect for the skill swap. This is what you need. And my brain kind of fired at me, because it was at the back of my head all the time. I've got to find this.
Yes.
And having that fire.
And so for someone who is looking for that, what's important is to kind of put that goal of what am I achieving, look into your network, the 2-3 people, and start to open up to say, okay, hey, hang on a minute. Is this person better as a swap or as a paying client or coach? Because sometimes it's better to say, well, actually, I don't need that type of support, or I don't need like dance classes or something, but I can help them. Then it's more interesting to have and monetary exchange. But if there is more like, okay, we are friends, we have really powerful skills, both of us, why don't we tap into each other? So that would be really powerful. Amazing. And I would also know that we're kind of running short on time, but I would love to just hear as well that I know that you did a huge shift for your packaging as well in your coaching that had a big impact. Can you tell a bit more about what did you do? Because we have been speaking a lot about the soul and energy, and I think which is really powerful, and I can really relate to that, because that's how I brought in my own, first advisors, editors, publishers, lots of opportunities. But if you're more into mine and you're looking and listening to this, it's like, okay, what can I really do? What is the one thing that I can shift right now that doesn't depend so much on other people, but I can do it right now in terms of my coaching packaging or my pricing, that I know that you also did?
Yes. So there was a couple of things that happened there. Firstly, you told me stop charging one-off sessions and stop offering one-off sessions and only offer packages. Is like, crap, but that's really expensive. And people have no way of knowing whether they trust me or not. So that was one kick up the butt, and that made a huge difference. And then the other one was my financial coach, and actually having a chat with her about what you said, and her kind of giving me that pep talk of, but actually this is what you are worth, and you've got to work on what you believe you're worth and charge that amount. So I started playing around with that. I started exploring with it. And it was a slow process. It took me about a month to implement. And it kind of just started with, I went from charging, the most I charged was £80 an hour. The most I am now charging is £150 an hour.
Amazing. That's a huge increase in 2 months.
It's huge, yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
But the part that I acknowledged was every 1 hour with my client is at least 2 to 3 hours on my side.
Yeah.
And then I'm being paid sod all, and
absolutely.
I'm not actually them properly. So my reasoning was, actually, if I work with less people who really want to commit, I can make a huge difference to them, because I can work with less of them, and I can really be devoted to them and really help them, because I help them in between their sessions as well. And I realized when at one point I had 6 clients a week, I was like, I can't keep up with this because I don't have time for anything else. They're all getting muddled up in my head, and I have to keep checking my notes. Whereas when I have less of them, I can really be invested in helping them and knowing what's happening in their life and being a part of that journey with them. And that's so much more powerful.
Absolutely. And they get better results.
Yeah, totally. So I was able to kind of shift it that way and started deciding, okay, I'm going to offer like group online stuff that I'm currently developing, which is really exciting. So I'm going to be offering loads of tools that they can use as an introduction thing. That's going to be much cheaper than working with me one-to-one and kind of working that way.
Absolutely. Yes. And you're joining us this as we are recording this, you're joining us stage 2 program, as you've grown so fast that you're already moving over to stage 2, which is our implementation program, where we get an extra 5 to 10K in your coaching business per month. Exactly doing that, working on the packaging, working on less people, but deeper work. And I really truly believe that if you learn how to create an irresistible offer at a higher price point where you can go deep with your clients and support them, then what's happening is that the results are coming up. There's much more trust. There's much more, you can work through the mental blocks. Even in business, you can work through the mental blocks, because there's so much beliefs about what the value of what your work, what will people actually accept, will people actually will you find clients if I charge double, or if I create another program and I stop working with all the clients who are draining me, what would happen to my business? There's a fear that we're going to stay alone, and and all this leaping into the faith and fear and just like, okay, it's all fine, I'm just going to trust it's going to work out. That's what's really going to work, get you to the next level. Amazing. So I'm really excited for you, and I think that's a lot of value in this short live show we did today. A lot about group dynamics. Gonna add the link for my my TEDx for people who want to watch that if they want to go deeper. But I also want to hear from you. Where can people find you?
Awesome. So my website, I don't know if it's going to show on the live. It's just there.
We can add that as well. Absolutely.
Or it's Maria's Healing International on the Facebook group. And I can just comment links in there as well. And just message me, send me a message. I do free consultations if you're interested. I always believe that you've actually got to like who you're working with, and it's got to feel right both ways. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere.
Absolutely.
So I've always believed in free consultations and just having that chat initially with people and seeing whether we can be a right fit.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking this time. It has been great. I'm really enjoying this. Seeing, for me, it's really about your stories, because you are the one actually digging into the content, the models, the work we're doing. So you are the one who can actually talk about what does that mean on the other side when you're in it and you're going through that process of like, okay, I'm just going in and I'm jumping, and what can then be creation of what you created, like 400% increase in revenue in 2 months, which is amazing. And I think
it's amazing, but it's scary. I've got to admit, there's definitely ups and downs with it. You've got to stick with it. Like, you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows again, and you just got to stick with it. And
that's why you need to have the ongoing work of actually, it's a lot of inner work as well, of accepting that you have the right to be, we are as afraid of success as we are afraid of failure.
Totally.
Because who are we going to become if we are making, 6 figures a year or 7 figure year? The identity shift. Like there's a lot.
Yourself. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been really interesting, because one of the things you guys were teaching was like, have that 10-year vision. Yeah. And as I was writing, it's like, who am I to think that I can be this person? And I had to work through so much of those limiting beliefs in that. And then within a few weeks, that completely shifted again. I was actually, yes, that's what I want in 10 years, but what I want next year is so different. And it made me completely shift my whole business model and to how I want to make it work in the future, which has been so amazing.
And we can add that as well at the 10-year vision too. So we're going to add some links for you, for the ones that are listening and watching this. Thank you so much, Aria. I was really happy. And everyone watching, listening, just comment. What did you get out of it? Review this on our podcasts and our YouTube channels. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you soon. And I look forward to hear how things are going to work in stage 2 for you as you're moving forward with your business. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.
Thank you, Daria. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.